not upset because they have a delay. They're a dreamer. They know they have the favor of God. They know because they believe all things are possible. They know God can make a way when they don't see a way. Friends, when you're a dreamer, you're dangerous to the enemy. You give him a nervous breakdown. He knows you're headed to a new level. He knows you're coming into overflow. He knows.
There are many ways to get the things that we want for ourselves in our lives. Basically, it all begins with how we choose to think. As you think, so shall you be.
I don't know why you do what you do. What is your motive for action? What is it that drives you in your life today, not 10 years ago, or are you running the same path? Or your web? The needs, the beliefs, the emotions that are controlling you for two reasons. So there's more of you to give. Achieve too. We all want to do it, but I mean give. So that's what's going to fill you up. And secondly, so you can appreciate, not just understand, that's intellectual, that's mind, but appreciate what's driving other people. It's the only way our world's going to change.
Everyone's going to hit adversity. Everyone's going to hit adversity. It's how you deal with that adversity. And the key word is you, not letting somebody else deal with that adversity. You have to deal with that adversity. And how you deal with it. Are you going to fight through it, or are you going to curl up and just roll over into the corner? It's going to pretty much determine how the rest of your development from a mental standpoint is going to carry you.
You cannot win the war against the world if you can't win the war against your own mind.
But it first starts with a sound, right? There's this sound that I hear, and that sound moves me, all right? That sound moves me. So this was a sound that I heard years ago. And there are times in my life where I just stop and I play this sound because it does something for me internally. It moves me. Write that down. Very first thing that needs to happen to you every single day is you need to be moved. You need to be moved. Whatever it is that you can do literally to incite it. Listen to me very closely. When I say find something that moves you, what most of you do wrong is you're waiting for something to move you. Instead of creating the thing every day that moves you. And the reason why I say find something that moves you, because what separates humans is our effort. There's some of us who give 70% to what we do. Some of us 80%, some of us 90%, some of us 100%, some of us 120%. And so when you move and you are moved, it allows you to operate at a whole different level.
We kind of have this idea that, well, you're free as a child, and then you have a certain delightful, wonderful, positive freedom as a child, and then that's given up as you approach adulthood. But the truth of the matter is that you have a lot of potential as a child, but none of that is capable of manifesting itself as freedom before you become disciplined.
Might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Friends to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Good morning. Who's happy today? Give me some chat. Tell me who's happy today. Great day. Thanks, Matt. It's a great day. It's a beautiful day. Who's happy? It's nice to have a little bit of rain back. It's nice to have a little bit of sunshine. It's nice to be in the summer. It's nice to have, there you go, Shayna. I'm happy too. It's nice to have, it's nice to live in paradise. It's nice to live in Florida. It's great to have the business that we have. I'm so grateful for the amount of opportunities that we have. I'm happy, got to enjoy some nature this morning before work. Damn straight. That's what I'm talking about. So who's happy? What else are you grateful for? Chat, let's just start off with that. Chat in and tell me what you're grateful for today. I'm grateful for the amount of business and opportunities that we have. I'm grateful for the success of all of the agents that we have here in this office and in this company that are just doing amazing things. I'm grateful to be a part of each and every one of your journeys in some capacity, to see you thrive. You know, chat in and tell me what you're grateful for. Give me some of that. Let's start off with a little bit of that. Let's just make sure that we focus on what our gratitude moments are. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my wealth, because wealth isn't just money. Wealth is a state of being. I'm wealthy. I'm rich. I'm happy. I'm thriving. I mean, I'm so grateful for all these awesome opportunities and feelings. So if you can, give me a second and just put in there, tell me what you're grateful for. I'm grateful for my family and my new journey. Damn straight, girl. You did an awesome job yesterday. So thank you very much for that. Shayna Online, brand new agent, started making some phone calls. Had a little bit of a tough, well, I don't know if I want to do that yet, but started calling all of her sphere and had some great opportunities over the last week, just from saying, you know what, I believe in myself and I'm going to get a little bit more disciplined and do that. Great job, girl. I'm so proud of you. So grateful for my business, the growth opportunity and opportunities that have come my way. Yes, ma'am, you have an amazing business going right now. You have plugged in. You are just in tune. And I'm so grateful to see you thriving the way that you are. Great job, girl. Lauren, great. I'm so grateful for family, good friends, business, and education. That's right. So, you know, gratitude is important. Today, we're going to talk about a couple different things, but mostly I'm going to talk about some just a positive mental attitude, but also mental health, and mental health not in the doctor's sense of it. Mental health, just mental health, things that we can do to try and keep our mental clarity, to try and keep our mental health. We do some crazy things. You heard Kathleen talk about her agent, 16 hours. Woke up in the middle of the night, slept in a car, waited in line 16 hours to get her client that home. You know, we're doing some crazy things, dealing with some crazy people, and it makes you start to question your clarity, your sanity, and if you're doing the right thing. Is this the right thing for you? I was with somebody the other day, and they, you know, when things get tough, that's when we start questioning sometimes. You know, am I doing the right thing? Is this really for me? Should I try something different? Should I go back to an hourly paying job? And really, it's just about, can we plug in and can we get a little bit more stability in our mental health and some of our practices. So I'm going to talk about that today. But firstly, I want to talk about where we're at in this year so far. So we are nearly halfway through the year. 1 second. There they are. So grateful for a new journey. Speaking with Jim the other day, I had some eye-opening advice. Yes, absolutely, Matt. So for those of you who have not already, Jim Beggin sends out his personality profile link, and he will coach with you and discuss with you your personality, your strengths. He will open your eyes to some things that you may have already known about yourself but weren't ready to admit, and he'll actually may give you some aha moments with some of the things that you're doing. So check that out. It was definitely very valuable for me. Susie Brush, not to be a butt kisser, but I'm grateful for you. I appreciate all the guidance you give. Thank you, Susie. I appreciate that. I appreciate you as well. So yes, so right now, where are we at? We're at it's June 23rd. We basically got 7 days left till our halfway point through the year. 6 months into 2021, we got 6 months left. Realistically, we've got about 5, because what you're going to be doing for the next 5 months is going to dictate how the end of the year goes. And one of the things that we really should be doing right now, because so many of us are so busy and we're so focused on everything that we're doing now, some of us have lost sight of what the goals that we're after are. We've lost sight of some of the direction and the things that we're after. So here's a quick little thought for you. And what if you sat down today and said, okay, this is where I'm at this year for my business. In the first 6 months, I did all of this. I have this much business pending. I have this many opportunities in my pipeline. If I do nothing but work my pipeline and my opportunities that are pending and make sure they close, this is where I'm going to end up at the end of this year. Would this make the most amazing Christmas, New Year's, and end of the year for my family? Or do I need to kick it up a notch and really kind of just dig in? And what are those goals for yourself? How about this? What would make this end of the year, this Christmas, and I don't mean to be talking about Christmas in June, but what would make this Christmas an amazing Christmas? What would make this New Year's an amazing New Year's? What is something you've always wanted to do for your family? What is something you've always wanted to do for your kids, your significant other, for yourself, for your community? Where's some place you've always wanted to go, you've always wanted to see for this, for like the winter season? I talked about yesterday with some of my team, nothing will ever feel like Christmas like New York City. That is one of the most amazing feelings that you'll ever have, to be in New York City at Christmas time. I don't know if it's exactly where you want to be, but it's someplace I think everybody should visit just to get that feel. Times Square, Rockefeller Plaza, the Christmas tree, Fifth Avenue, Central Park. Have you ever wanted to do something like that? Have you ever wanted to go, and have you not seen snow? Do you want to see snow? You want to bring your family to see that? Is there something that you want to do? Have you ever always wanted to put that bow on the top of a new car or a bike or something like that for a family member? Or have you wanted to treat your family and yourself to a new home? Have you wanted to have that, put a bow on the door for yourself? So when's the last time you sat down and said, what can I do today, and what should I be doing today to create this ultimate dream Christmas, end of the year, New Year's for me and my family? So what does that look like? I'm going to need this kind of income. I'm going to need this kind of flexibility and freedom for time. I want to book this, do this, whatever that is, and then sit down and say, what do I need to start doing today to do that? Hey, just a quick little 6-month thing. What do I want to be doing 6 months from now around Christmas time? And start putting some plans together. But we're halfway through the year, and if you're on track for your goals, that's awesome. Congratulations. But if you're not, let's take time to revisit where you are and what you need to start doing. And right now, thinking about 6 months from now, very realistic, you can create the best and the most amazing Christmas ever. Something as simple as, an agent that's online who is also new to the agent side of the business. Now she'll have like 6 closings in her first full quarter when she's been acting as an agent. Pretty freaking amazing. Now, what if she said, wow, look at what I've done in 1 quarter. What could I do next quarter? And then the next quarter, because I've got 3 more quarters until then, what kind of Christmas, what kind of travel, what kind of day, holiday could I make for my family? So to start thinking forward a little bit, but let's talk about some of the things that we need to focus on a little bit in regards to mental health. So these are just some keys and tips to keeping for mental health, things to keep your mind strong, because you guys are a lot. You are giving a lot, not only to your business, but to your family and to your community and to your friends and to your sellers and your buyers. You are giving a lot of yourselves, and we need to make sure that we take a little bit of time and focus on ourselves. It's not being selfish. It's actually, in my mind, I believe focusing on ourselves is actually being selfless, because we're trying to fill our cup up first. The saying is, if I fill my cup up with coffee, and I leave my house and I start walking around and I bump into somebody, what am I going to spill on them? Coffee. Because I filled my cup with coffee. That's what I'm going to spill on them. So the statement is, you are going to spill onto everybody else whatever you have in your cup. And if you don't fill yourself up with the right things and take care of yourself, whatever you're going to spill onto them may not be the greatest thing. So take some time and be what our world would call be selfish, but I think it's being selfless. Because if you fill yourself up with all these amazing things, gratitude, discipline, freedom, making sure you're healthy, taking care of yourself, that just means you're going to be so much better for everybody else that you bump into in this world. So much better for your family, so much better for your kids, so much better for your clients. So you have to take the time to fill yourself up, fill your cup up, because that's what you are going to spill over whenever you get out into this world. So some keys for mental health, things that you should really be focusing on to kind of get your mind right and keep your mind in order. James Stern, author and keywords, Lauren McGlone. Good ideas in a small book, smile.amazon.com. Deepening gratitude, different kind of journal. It's great. You put your mask on first when on a plane. That's right, Lauren. So that's the other side of it is whenever you're on a plane, they tell you whenever the plane gets into trouble and the mask drop down from the ceiling, what do they tell you to do? They tell you to run around and help others, make sure everybody else is safe, make sure everybody else is doing well, and then take care of yourself. No, the first thing they tell you to do is put your mask on first, because you're no good to anybody else if you've passed out for lack of oxygen and you can't help anybody else. So put your mask on first. That's the whole point of kind of focusing on some of these things. This is just kind of focusing on some mental health things that'll help keep your mind strong, keep your attitude strong. When you cease to go, you start to go. So, all right. So number one, set goals. Might seem a little opposite. I want to have mental health, so I'm going to focus on doing more, trying to create more, getting goals. Yeah, but think about it. What do you see a lot of with people that you run into that don't have goals? They may feel stagnant. They may feel depressed. They may feel frustrated. They feel like they're stuck. They can't get out of a rut. It's just the same old thing over and over and over again. Why? Well, because 95% of what you think, what you feel, and what you do on a day-to-day basis, for the most part, is a habitual response, action, feeling to something that's happening around you. 95% of the things you do on a day-to-day basis are basically the same. And if you don't have any goals, if you don't have any disciplines, if you don't have any plans of doing something different, you are going to be stuck with, if you're not defined by a clear vision of the future, you're left with the old circuitry and the emotions of the past. And that's what happens to most of us. Most of the time, we end up being more defined by the emotions and circuitry of the past because we don't have a clear vision for the future. So setting goals is something that's actually going to keep us progressing. And progress equals happiness, because we all know when we're on this solid, even plane, not making any progress, feel like we're not getting anywhere, we're just kind of scooting along, that's when frustration starts to settle in. When the gap between where you are and where you think you should be starts to grow, that's when we start to get frustrated because we're not making progress. How do we start to make progress towards that? Implement some of these things, but get some goals. Define some goals for yourself. Something as simple as start going to the gym 30 minutes a day. Start walking for 1 mile a day outside your house. Wake up 20 minutes earlier tomorrow. Read one book this month. Actively prospect for business for at least 1 hour a day, 4 days a week, 5 days a week. Something to start with. Start with some clear, defined visions and goals of your future and things that you want, which will start to help you make progress. And then also, sometimes a vision or a goal is just to be happy. Okay, well, we often forget that to be happy and to be joyful, you have to do things that make you happy and joyful. It sounds so silly, but we forget about this sometimes. So there's a therapist and a coach that was talking to a woman, and she said that, I haven't been happy in like 7 years. I said, okay, well, why haven't you been happy? What happened 7 years ago? She said, my husband passed away. I said, I completely understand that, but tell me some of the things. Tell me about what makes you happy. She goes, well, I love playing the piano, I love gardening, and I love painting. And she named off a few things. And she goes, okay, when's the last time you did those? And she said, it's probably been about 7 years. So I said, well, this is what I want you to do this week. Go home, paint one day, garden another day, play the piano and sing some music another day, and do that for this next week and just alternate through those. Make sure you do each one for at least an hour a day, 30 minutes to an hour a day, and then call me back next week. And she called back next week. She goes, wow, I've never felt better. sometimes just as simple as finding out what makes you happy, what lights you up, and what makes you joyful, and doing things that make you happy and joyful will actually bring you happy and joy. I know, novel thing, but we forget about that. We're just sitting there like, why don't I feel so happy? Well, when's the last time you did something that makes you feel happy? When's the last time you did something that's joyful? So setting some goals is something that can help you with your mental health, because it's going to help you to start making progress towards something that you want and start closing that gap between where you think you are and where you think you should be. It'll close that gap if you start making progress towards that, or if you start taking action. So number one, setting some goals is a good key to start off to help with some mental health, mental strength. Number two, schedule time for personal growth. When's the last time you took time to focus on you? When's the last time you took time to fill your cup up? When is the last time you scheduled yourself to take a course, to read a book, to go take a class at a community college that you've always wanted to learn about, to get an online course, when's the last time you've done something like that? When's the last time you went away for a weekend event or a 1 or 2 day event, even if it's like a Mike Ferry type retreat? Personal growth. When's the last time you scheduled some time for personal growth? We've all heard the saying, if we're not growing, we are dying. And progress equals happiness, like I just mentioned before. So when you're making progress towards your goals, when you're making progress towards personal growth and you feel like you are growing as an individual, that's when we're most alive. Just think of a flower. When the flower is growing, it looks beautiful, strong, healthy, tall. When it's dying, it does not look the same way. It becomes limp and frail, and it does not look healthy and strong. So think about yourself as a flower. There's a Buddhist monk, and one of the meditations he does is just breathing and saying, breathing in, I am a flower, and breathing out, I feel fresh. And it's just something simple. Picturing yourself as a flower, breathing in, filling yourself up with air and health and strength, and picturing yourself as a flower standing tall and blooming, because a flower does not care about the flowers around it. It just blooms. It does not compare itself to the flowers all around it. It just blooms. Breathing in, I am a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. So just remember, progress equals happiness. If you don't take time to set aside for personal growth, then the statement of if you're not growing, you're dying, you're going to wonder why you're feeling frustrated. Take the time to call Jan Stern, Thrival Coach Toward Fulfillment. Yes, ma'am. So if you're not growing, you are dying. Progress is going to equal happiness for you. Number three, meditation. Not sitting down and you don't have to do it like everybody thinks of meditation. Meditation, the word itself just means to become familiar with. If I told you that 95% of what you do on a day-to-day basis, what you think, what you do, what you feel, your reactions, your emotional reactions are the same on a day-to-day basis, would you say that you are acting like yourself, or would you say you are acting out a program? I would say all you're doing is just acting out a program. If 95% is the same on a day-to-day basis, most of the time you are just acting out this program. Is that really who you are, or did you become used to all of these habits that you are, and now you've just thrown your hands up and said, I've always been this way? Become familiar with yourself. Who are you really? These habits, do they serve you? The habits that you're doing, the 95% of the thoughts, feelings, and things you do on a day-to-day basis, do they serve you? Are they the things that you actually want to be doing? Should you be changing them? So meditation is the act of becoming familiar with. And sometimes you just have to sit down and be still and breathe. Not don't think of anything. Let thoughts come in. Let thoughts come in and go. But change your body. Sit down, change your posture. Breathe in, breathe out. Get a nice big change to the physicality of your body and focus on the breathing. Just become familiar with you in this moment, because most of the time, most of us aren't even living in this moment. We are living in everything else. We're living in either the past, thinking about everything that's happened, that I did do today, that I didn't do, that I should have done, and I can't believe this happened and this is crazy, or the future of what do I have to do? When can I do that? I can't believe, wait until they respond to that. Oh my goodness, I don't even know how I'm going to handle that. When I get home, I have to do this. My house is dirty. I got to clean this. I have to drop it off. Wait, my gas light came on. We're thinking in the past or the future. We're never really sitting and being present in the moment and becoming familiar with who we are. We're thinking so much of who we were and who we want to be. Sometimes we just have to sit down and become familiar with who we actually are, because the only true you is in this moment right now. That's the only true you. Anything else is your thought of what happened in the past, because not everybody sees things the same, or your projection of what you want to happen in the future. And with a response to that, an emotional response to that, that may not always be pleasant. So meditation, to become familiar with. Sometimes you just got to take some time to sit down and breathe. And again, just take some time away, personal time. Go somewhere where you won't be disturbed for 15 minutes. Go to the beach. Go to the nature preserve. Sit there on the rock. Just sit there and breathe and just let go of everything that's going on around you and just be present. Number 4, work out. Be physically active daily. This helps with mental strength and mental clarity so much. It helps to relieve stress. There are so many benefits to being active daily in some way, shape, or form, even if it's just going for a walk. So many benefits. You reduce the stress hormones of cortisol. You increase endorphins and serotonin. Put that one wrong. You increase endorphins and serotonin, which are your mood enhancers. Those are the things that determine whether you're going to be in a better mood or up than if you're going to be stressful and focusing on those things. You know, I always say, I've never left the gym and said, I really wish I hadn't come here today. God, I really wish I didn't do this today. I've never said that. I've always walked out and said, wow, oh man, I feel so much better that I got this done and I came in. I'm so happy I came. Right? It reduces your stress hormones like cortisol and increases endorphins and serotonin. Then the physical benefits, it lowers your risk of heart disease, lowers your risk of high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, and it also keeps your mind sharp. A lot of people say that, some of the guys who go to the gym and lift weights, they're meatheads, they're dumb, but some of them are some of the smartest people you ever meet, because the amount, or at least sharpest people you ever meet, because the amount of intention and focus it takes to do the things that they're doing and focus on their body and their muscles and their heart rate and their breathing and keeping everything in line and symmetrical. It's an amazing amount of focus and clarity. So it helps to keep your mind focused and clear. Plus, when you're focused on what you have to lift, move, run, walk, whatever that's going to be, it kind of helps you to forget about everything that's going on around you in the past and in the future. It really helps you just to get in that moment and just be kind of in touch with yourself. So physical activity is absolutely huge. If you're not doing anything physical, schedule some time, just a walk, something simple, like start off with 10 push-ups, 10 squats, 10 jumping jacks, and 10 sit-ups tomorrow, and just do that, and then go for a 10-minute walk. Something simple. That's all you have to do to start with. You'll notice a huge difference just from doing those things. So another key to mental health in our crazy world and crazy business that we're in, set boundaries. This one's tough for a lot of us. So we don't have a traditional 9 to 5. You don't have go to work, clock in, come out, clock out. You don't have that freedom all of the time. At least that's what we tell ourselves. I can't do that. I can't set that schedule that way, because if I do that, I'll miss out on an opportunity. And when I miss out on that opportunity, that one was going to be the one that set my business off or set it apart or really kept me going or whatever that is. That's not true. If you talk to any of the really high producing agents, they have boundaries that are set. Yes, some days they work all day. Some days they work late, but that's on their schedule. But their normal schedule is going to start at a certain time and be done at a certain time. And anything that comes after those times, then, you know what? There's nothing that's going to get solved at 8:30 at night. The lender's not open. The title company's not open. There's no one really that you can speak with. The inspection company's not open. None of the contractors are going to be open. Nothing is going to get solved at 8 o'clock at night. It can always wait till the next morning. But you have to set some boundaries in this business. If you do not set boundaries, you ever gone to the doctor? What do they tell you? I call them and I need to come in. Say, yeah, well, I work till 5:30, so I need to come in. Can I be there at 7 o'clock tomorrow? No, we're closed. We close at 5. They tell you that these are our hours. This is when we work, and you work around it. You'll be surprised at how many people will work around your schedule or will respect your schedule. But if you don't put that in, they have nothing to give that respect to. If you answer your phone at 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night, and you're dealing with things at that time, that makes it okay to do that. And the next time it's just going to be easier for them to do it. And then all of a sudden, if you try and set that boundary, now all of a sudden you're the problem. So work from the beginning and set that expectation from the beginning. Set some boundaries. Your phone goes off, no checking emails after a certain time. What if it's just dinner time? You have 45 minutes set aside for dinner with your family every single night, or at least during the week. Phone goes off and down, does not even sit at the table. And that's it. All we do is we make eye contact, we eat, and we talk. What if after 8 p.m. phone goes off? No emails, no responses, no anything. What if it's at 5 p.m.? Or from 5 to 7 p.m., no business at all because you're getting home to your family, spending time with them doing that. But from 7 to 8, you'll catch up on everything. And then from 8 o'clock on, you're able to go back to family. Determine what those boundaries are going to be for you. You also need some family or you time with no exception. I'm talking you time where it's just done. Phone down, computer off, unplug, not thinking about business, not thinking about a deal. Become familiar with yourself in that moment. Do something that makes you happy and joyful and get out of your normal routine. Get out of that 95% of the day-to-day things that become the same. So set some boundaries for yourself. It's absolutely key to do that, especially in this business where you are the one who controls that. If you're the one who controls it, set the control. Number 6 here, monitor your diet. Diet is not just what you consume through your mouth. Diet is what you see, what you hear, what you eat, what you surround yourself with. Anything that you are consuming as an individual, any videos you watch, social media, books, people you surround yourself, what you're listening to, that is your diet. Diet is so important. Monitoring your diet. Tony Robbins says you have to stand guard at the doors to your mind. You have to become very vigilant at the doors to your mind to determine what gets in and what gets out. If you do not take the time to do that and everything just comes piling in and you have no control over what gets in or what gets out, or at least there's no one standing at the door saying, we'll let you in, but you are not staying for long. You're only staying long enough for us to learn this lesson and then you're gone so I can focus on the positive. Something bad happens to us. Right, so a contract cancels. That can come in. Let that in. The contract canceled. But you're only staying long enough for us to determine what this really means. Does it mean the world's over? I can't believe this. This buyer's never going to find another home, or my seller's never going to sell this again, or we're never going to get that price. I have my seller. They're going to be so pissed off and so angry. Or does it mean, great, now we have an opportunity to put it back on the market and make more money, and I could potentially double-side it. So stand guard at the door to your mind. And be the bouncer there, letting the different thoughts or occurrences in and determine how long they're going to stay and what that reaction is going to be. Also, diet, food. There are certain foods that you consume that help with mental toughness, that help with mental clarity and sharpness. There are foods that you consume that help with energy. There's foods that you consume that will help, that will diminish the amount of energy that you have and make you feeling very tired and lackadaisical. So your diet is absolutely key. If you want to, you can Google anything. We're in an information world where information is right at your fingertips. You can literally get online and Google anything and look up anything to make some changes, whether on diet or anything. So what else? What are you seeing? What are you reading? What kind of videos are you listening to? So do you have an Audible account where you can download some books and listen to some books? So something very powerful. You drive a lot, don't you? You're showing a lot of homes. You're going to homes to go do previews and list homes. You're doing a lot of driving. So on your little black box, download an Audible account. Download the YouTube app. Go to and subscribe to some YouTube pages for some motivational speakers, inspirational speakers. Just type in the search bar, best motivational speech, best inspirational speech, and start listening to things. Type in some names that you know: Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Wayne Dyer, Jim Rohn. Start typing in any of these names and just watch and listen to some of their videos. Watch videos of things that you want to learn. What have you always wanted to learn? What have you always wanted to engage with? You can literally find it all over the internet. Download Audible. Get books that you've wanted to listen to. You should be listening. You should be reading or listening to some type of nonfiction book all the time. Just trying to learn a little bit, whether it's about history or personal growth or something. So monitor your diet, absolutely key. If you're watching news all the time, if you're on social media all the time, you are being directed by the things that you hear. If all you hear is coronavirus, politics, this state did that, this governor did this senator's doing that, the world's falling apart. If all you're doing is seeing that, if all you're watching on social media is all of my friends and all of my family or all of the people around there, look how great their life is, I don't compare to that, or somebody complaining about everything, that's the, somebody in the ain't it awful club about how bad things are, or yeah, but kind of person. If you're consuming all those things, that's going to have a major effect on you. So you have to be careful of what you're consuming, because where your focus goes is where your energy goes. And if you're consuming those things, that's going to start to take some of your focus. And then that's going to create some energy driven that way. Number 7, think win-win. You'll sleep better at night. It's not always win-lose, or it's not always I win, you lose. Think win-win. I mean, one of the 7 habits of highly effective people in the book by Stephen Covey is think win-win. Try and figure out, how do we both win? How do we get the outcome that is beneficial for everybody here? So it will change your perspective. Currently reading an oldie but a goodie, Franklin Covey, Stephen Franklin Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That's exactly it. It's a great book. It's a great reminder. There's so much great information in there, and if you just consume that and focus on those things and then become aware, think about what you think about. Think about these 95% of the things that you do every day that are the same from day to day. Start paying attention to them. Start becoming aware of them. Start reading books and consuming knowledge that helps you to become aware, to implement different things so you can start to grow and change as an individual. That's where you get your real power. That's where you start to become more happy. Progress equals happiness. If you're making progress towards something, consuming new information, consuming new knowledge and implementing it makes a huge difference. Thank you for that, Claire. Number 8, be disciplined. Again, kind of sounds backwards from setting goals, right? But be disciplined. There's freedom in discipline. There's freedom in a schedule. What's Mike Ferry say? Because a lot of people get into real estate for freedom. And when they don't create a schedule and they don't do the things they're supposed to do, the only freedom they get is freedom from earning income. So there's freedom in discipline. If I told you, like I have, 95% of the things that you think, do, act on, respond to emotionally and everything are the same day to day, those things, not all of them are disciplined. But here it is. If you wanted to be a pro athlete, you would have to be very disciplined. It would take hours and hours and hours and hours of practice, training, and everything to become very disciplined. But when after doing that over and over and over and over again, you get to a point where that becomes part of your 95% of the things that you're doing every single day, day in and day out, and it becomes a habit, which allows freedom. Because what is a habit really? A habit is an automatic response to something that your brain doesn't have to think about anymore. Your body has taken over. Your body has taken over the physical response, the emotional response, the nerves, the direction, the way you walk, talk, the way you do all of those things. The body takes over, and now you have this habit, which frees up the mind to think more creatively, frees up the mind to think of things outside of the box. Because if I'm constantly focusing on how to do this and I'm trying so hard and doing that, my brain is so focused on, say, if I'm trying to get a needle or a piece of thread through a needle, I'm so focused on that, I'm not seeing anything else around me. But if you do it enough times over and over again, you're not focusing on that anymore because it becomes more habitual and it gets that much easier. And you know the little tricks to get it in, to do that, to make it quicker. And you freeze your mind up to think of outside ideas, freeze your mind up to think creatively, to give you better ideas, better thoughts, better processes. So there's freedom in discipline, because once you become disciplined, your brain is able to just shut off and your body takes over and it becomes more habitual. And then you create a new habit, which provides freedom for you to do all of the other things. When you first started driving, were you, most of us, when you started driving, you both hands on the wheel, paying real close attention, looking at everything? You didn't even want to look over towards the radio to change the station, or to look down to see where you were at, what you were doing. Every time you looked in a different direction, it's right back. You were so intently focused. Now, if I drive next to any of you, you're driving down the road with one knee on the steering wheel, looking at MLS sheets over here, grabbing your phone for the GPS, changing the radio station, putting on a different book, a different video, or a different song. You're all doing that. Why? Because you have the freedom to be able to think outside. You have the freedom for creativity. You have your freedom to use autonomy in doing the things that you want to do, because your body took over this habit of doing the driving for you, and you don't have to focus on it as much, which also sometimes creates problems, but because you get a little cocky. Excuse me. So these are some keys to implement and put into your life for mental health. And then just along those lines, getting into the business side of things, if you mentioned this before, just want to remind you, 7 things every top agent should be doing. 7 things that you should be doing. So you're working on your mental health, but now these are things that aren't just business related, and some of these are going to correspond with them. And you can see some overlapping here, and why, because these are the things that everybody should be doing. Take control of your state of mind. Similar to meditate, similar to watch your diet, what you consume, because you want to start your day off on the right foot. You want to check your worldview. Everyone has that, my luck friend. So take control of your state of mind, because you're going to run into those things. So become familiar with who you are. Control what you consume, who you put yourself around. Take control of your state of mind. One of the things that I should have added onto here too, one of the keys to mental health is focus on gratitude. If I asked every single one of you, if you're driving, don't do it, but if I asked every single one of you to close your eyes and focus on something that you are so incredibly grateful for, and do not open your eyes until you've created that gratitude in your heart, that feeling in your heart of love and just adoring that moment, that person, that thing, whatever it is that you're so grateful for. Close your eyes, picture yourself there, and just becoming so grateful for that. If I asked you all to do that, then I said, okay, be pissed off. I want you to be pissed off about the last buyer that you couldn't. So if you can control your emotions like that, if you can control how you feel just by thinking of something you're grateful for, why wouldn't we do that more often? So take control of your state of mind. Focus on the gratitude things, and focus on the people and the things that you're grateful for. The other thing, control the people you're around. Look who you hang around. Hang around 9 broke people, you'll be the 10th. Denzel Washington, reiterated a statement in a commencement speech and said, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you'll end up with a haircut. So control who you hang around. Have consistent lead generation patterns in place. Be disciplined. Stop that cycle of the roller coaster. What are you going to do? If you're not doing it, start off with 30 minutes a day of just doing something, consistent lead generation patterns. I'm just going to call these people for this 30 minutes a day and for 5 days out of this week, and do an experiment. Let's see what happens at the end of this week. See what happens. See how it changes. Next, work with a good quality coach. Have somebody that holds you accountable. Have somebody that's going to help you get to your next level. Have somebody that's going to help you with that blueprint and the accountability, because we're all operating from a blueprint of, we always say, well, that's how I've always been, or this is just how I do things. You're operating from a blueprint. So sometimes we need to change that blueprint. Sometimes we need to implement some new things, make some changes, and guess what? It's not always fun, but that's why you need someone to be accountable to, because that person's going to help you with those things. So nearly every single top producer has a coach. Every single top athlete has a coach. Every single one of them does. Baseball, football, basketball, martial arts, Olympics, sprinters, swimmers. Every single top producing athlete Olympian has a coach. Every single top producing real estate agent has a coach. Coincidence? Work towards your goals daily. So set goals. Become disciplined. Say when you're going to do it. Know what you're working after. Progress will equals happiness. If you're working towards those things on a day-to-day basis and you're doing those things, measure the things that you've done. So figure out where I'm at, where I'm headed to. Revisit those things. Come back and look. Have the acuity to know, okay, am I getting what I'm after? Do I need to change this? Work on this? Change that focus a little bit. Exercise daily. That one's straight from one of those keys. There's so many benefits to that. And help someone else. 2 of the most important things that you can do as an individual that will help to refuel your soul are to grow as an individual. So having personal growth tactics in mind that you're doing daily all the time, and to contribute, to give. If you are doing those two things, I guarantee you it's almost impossible to feel upset. It's almost impossible to be sad if you are focusing on growth and focusing on giving. It's nearly impossible. So help someone else. Each one, teach one. One of the best ways to learn something is to teach it. One of the best ways to master something is to teach it, because if you're teaching it, you want to be the best at it, and you're going to do your best to consume more knowledge and information so you can impart that on others. And then track and measure your business. So work towards your goals daily, but track and measure your business. How many contracts to a lead? How many leads to a transaction? How many transactions to a closing? How many closings equal how many per closing? How much income? Track and measure. Am I getting what I'm supposed to be getting? Am I on track? Am I doing the things I need to do? If you aren't tracking, you're trading time. So in hopes for a result. That's all I got for today. I just wanted to just give you some reminders. It's really tough out there. Sometimes it's very busy. We do focus on business, but sometimes we forget to focus on some of the small things. So take some time for yourself, whether it's this week, this month, and then get in line for what you want out of this next 6 months. Because I guarantee if you go at this next 6 months with something that you're working towards to have the best Christmas, or to figure out what you want to do. Because I'm a guy, most of us are going to wait until the middle of December to determine, oh goodness, I can place this order on Amazon. It should be here in time. And if it doesn't get here in time, I'll just print a picture of it out and put it inside the box and say, oh, we'll be here in 2 days. So if you start thinking about that now and start getting a clear vision and a clear picture of how you want it to be, and you start working on that and working towards that today, guarantee it's going to make a difference. It's going to make a huge difference in your personal life and your business and everything, because you're going to be taking some more clear and intensive actions towards getting them. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, 7-8 days left in this month. End of the first half of the year. Congratulations to all of you on all of your successes. You guys have done absolutely amazing. So thank you so much. Go out and make it happen today. You guys have a happy Wednesday.